agenda this evening. We've got some announcements to make, and we'll be building department activity and hours with Rick and Laurie. Request to renew a lease on the Tenney Road property. Discuss the transportation alternative program and accept the donation for the rec department and pool. So and then we'll have a non-public. But before we start, let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start, we have a few announcements here. We want to make the residents of New Ipswich aware that as part of the road rebuilding program, Timbertop Road from Route 124 to Hubbard Pond and to the Hubbard Pond Timbertop Road intersection on Tuesday, July 17th, starting at 6:30 in the morning. Right through the daylight hours will be closed for the replacement of the culvert. DPW crew will make every effort to maintain one lane of travel to allow for passing motorists. However, due to the size and complexity of the project, that's not going to be an option here. So all residents in the Timbertop, Hubbard Pond area will need to exit the area after 6:30 a.m. by traveling out to either Timbertop or Hubbard Pond Road and into the town of Ringe until the affected area of the road is reopened. New Ipswich Emergency Service have made arrangements with the neighboring towns through the mutual aid to assist in the event of emergency. And the DPW thanks the residents for its patience and understanding during this repair. The other announcement is we received just a notification from Xfinity about a new Choice TV package option that they'll be offering. Choice TV at $30 a month and a Choice TV double play at $89.99 per month. And then with genre packs with different prices, but customers will get this notification, and I'm sure non-customers probably will also. Lastly, events for the week. Friday, July 13th, the Escape Capsule will be at Memorial Park from 2 to 8 p.m. Register online. There'll be a free outdoor movie night, the movie being The Jungle Book, Friday at 8. There'll be snacks for sale. Wednesday, July 18th, there's going to be a Fisher Cats bus trip. It's $20 per person, and you must pre-register online. Monday, July 30th through August 3rd, there'll be a British soccer camp for ages 6 to 14 from 4 to 7 p.m. at Memorial Park. You can register at challenger.configio.com. I'm assuming Rec has this on their website, so get it there. And lastly, we got the farmers market Saturday from 10 to 1, which is a new closing time. Rick and Laurie.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You want to come up there? Or?
Sure.
All right. So we are here to talk about efficiency within the building and code enforcement department. Our goal, hopefully, would be like to get us back to the status we were when I started back in 2014, which was there was a full-time position and a part-time position in those offices. When Joanne was moved over to town administrator, you went back to two part-time positions. Now, why I say this is the building department has really increased a lot in its activity as far as building permits. In fact, we even had an assessor make a comment that we're, out of the towns they assess for, this is the busiest town. I'm in most of the day Mondays now, and I come over Wednesday nights and Fridays for inspections. So I'm well over 12 hours a week just doing inspections. That's just the building department. On top of that, with code enforcement, zoning enforcement is what I should say, we have 6 cases that are on the table going, active cases that we are following through with, as you know, a couple of them. One of the things I'm finding is that the efficiency part is getting the letters of violation and our follow-up out sooner, the reports out quicker than we are. I am buried, Laurie is only allowed to work 20 hours a week. I send in drafts to her on what we should be sending out, and then she does the proofread and finalizes the letter to go out. But with all the other responsibilities, it's that time that they're getting the follow-up letters out is taking longer than what it should be taking. And I feel that I know it's a budgetary impact, but I feel that if we start now working to increase in some hours to get to where we need to be, I think we're going to be in better shape with being more effective and efficient with the departments and being on top of these zoning issues that are going on. Some of them are land use type things where there's violations of setbacks, but I know there's a few of them that are out there just in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We picked up 3 different projects where it's work that has been done without permits. 2 apartments, and one of them was a retail store that put in a bakery, and they didn't do any permitting to put in the bakery until they went for the food service license, and then of course it came up, oh, you can't do that without the building permits process. So that's basically what we're here for, because the time to get these letters out and get on top of these, I think we could be more efficient if Laurie had more time to be able to do the administrative side while I'm out in the field doing the field work.
You want to start it, or?
Well, I know one of the things we had talked about was right now, obviously, this is a time of the year when people are building.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's dry, there's no snow coming down, things like that. So if, you know, one of the ideas that we had discussed was if you looked at Lori's hours, 20 hours a week, through the end of the year, is there a way to load her hours more now in your busy season and cut back when it slows down until we can make the change in the budgetary process? To make a change right now in the budgetary process, I mean, we've already, you know, changes in hours and things like that. Once we voted on the budget, that's tough to do. In fact, I think we can't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a way that maybe we can look at it and say, okay, what can we do if we take your hours, 20 hours a week for the next X number of weeks a year? Where can we take 5 hours from the second week in November and move it to next week? And then you know that, okay, that week, you know, it's going to take a little time on you to look at and say, okay, I've got 25 here, but I can only work 15 on another. That's one way to look at it. But to do it before the budgetary process is we're going against what the town has voted on.
I can't speak because she has other responsibilities that I don't know
Right.
fully
Right.
all of her, because she does minutes for everybody. But
Right.
I watch what she does and try and keep up with the things. We did do I do think that the building department, in my opinion, would support looking at this and giving it a serious thought process. Right now, we're somewhere around $17,000 in revenues in the building department, and we're only half of the year. So I think by the end, projecting out, I think you're gonna be somewhere 34,000+ by the time the year's end to do that. And that's kind of relative and average of what we've been doing the past couple of years. It's been slowly building. And I do know from Debbie that there are other subdivisions coming in with more dwelling units and things like that.
Not only that, but I think the market has picked up too, and we've seen a lot of, like, people are going to sell their houses, and then, I don't know if it's the realtors that find out, oh, was that work permitted? Like, they have an apartment in their basement. Oh, do they have permits? No, they don't have permits. Imagine, so they come in, I need an occupancy permit for that work that was done 3 years ago, and they want it that day, basically. But so I think we're seeing a lot of that where it's like just kind of under the rug, and then they're going to sell the house, and so there's more, you know, so it's more inspections for him, which, you know, he's got to go look at it before he can sign off on it, but, you know, and then that's more paperwork, so I feel like it's not just building too, like it's work that is, that's code enforcement, but permits too, but, you know, I mean, I know the market has picked up a lot, which is, we get a lot of calls in the office from, you know, from realtors and stuff as well, which I usually transfer over to Debbie because that's her department, assessing.
But I'm presuming when you get a call for that type of scenario, we'll do an inspection and then they're hit with the
Double
Yeah.
fees.
fine
and I hear what you're saying, but unfortunately, regarding the revenue side of it, the town's not allowed to say, well, oh, we've got more revenue coming in, we can put that towards it, unfortunately. The one thing, and I don't have it with me now, but I believe when we did do the budgeting for that department, not building, but on your time and Debbie's time, I thought we added a little bit of
for the
an
town
extra
report.
week or an extra 2 weeks just for whatever may come up if we need. It's not gonna
Right.
make a dent into what you're talking, but I think, you know, if we look at every option that's out there, along with what John had suggested on the, looking at the restructuring. But just be prepared, because we'll be starting the budgeting season before you know it, that we can somehow document what it is we need for next year's budget.
And that's why we want to get these talks happening.
Yeah.
Because we know that season's coming in, and we're watching the incline in these departments and the things. And Bobby's right, there's a lot, the market is strong out there right now, the real estate market. And it's whether the bank's coming along or people doing research, and that's exactly what's happening, a lot of after the fact stuff.
Yeah.
And those tend to be more time consuming. They're time stealers as far as I'm concerned, because it's taken us 3 times as long. Because now I have to go research what happened, what did they do. I'm looking at it with a blind eye because everything's already finished. So you got to try to do your best to judge on the life safety side of things is how close. I can't say that they totally meet the code, but the other fact is go in and really cause you guys a bigger problem by saying rip it all out, because you know as well as I do what's the next ramification of that. So you try to work at 75% of our job is education, educating the contractors and the public on what they're supposed to be doing. And I think we do a good job of that, but I do think we're at this point right now, we're just so busy that a few hours would help us now to get through, as you're saying, the peak season, but to look at this going forward so that we're not missing this. And we're not behind the 8 ball all the time. Because I think once I do the investigation on the violation and send the violation, I think the follow-up, we gotta keep going with the follow-up. And that's not just our problem, it's a problem as far as I see globally. A lot of follow-up usually is the problem that you have that isn't done efficiently to make sure that everybody is complying with what they're supposed to be doing. So I don't know if there's something we can do now. If there is, as you suggested, maybe there's something we can pull in to help her at this point, or maybe we're just looking at the full budget, but, there are things that are a little bit delayed because of just time trying to get them done in that efficient manner.
Well, like I'm saying, and I think you understand, is we're tied into the budget that we've committed to, so, but going forward for next year and for what we can look at this year for where we are on expenditures to make that work. While you're here, I'd like to take the opportunity to ask you, how are we doing in trying to get the grasp on communication to you from ZBA, Planning Board, Conservation, so that you have that information when you're doing your issuance of a building permit or doing an inspection? Is that working?
Yeah, right now, we met with Bob Linton,
Yep.
and Carlotta was part of that meeting, and we come up with some ideas on how the Concom can be involved in this process and getting an idea on what wetlands are there and things like that. Such as when, the first thing that gets, that when a property is being looked at for development, the first thing that usually goes is the septic design. So if we get them the septic design, then they can look at the septic design and know what the property is.
That's like the first start of construction.
So I think that process will work, and I also think that working with these two, Debbie and Laurie, we can probably get what's coming on, what subdivision regulations might be, or anything from the planning board. Any restrictions like that one on Smithville Road where there was no
Erosion control.
erosion controls that was put into place for that. However, we were still, and Ken's been doing what I've asked him to do, but.
I just want to make sure you're getting those documents to have a chance to review it before you issue a permit, to say, okay, this is something whether you discuss it with the applicant or whatever, but I'm going to be looking for this. Because one of the biggest ones that I had noticed had happened well before your time, but the development on Green Farm Road. And, there was a developer, did the subdivision, did some of it, sold it off and moved on. Well, as a requirement of that subdivision, they were supposed to pave the driveways per our regulations, a certain distance back, and, no steep pitches, etc. And you go through there now, we've got town roads that we've accepted and the driveways spill right out onto the road. And those are the types of things that I gotta say, from an inspector's point of view, if nobody's giving you that information, how are you to know?
Right.
And I have asked them to try and make sure that whatever we do have, you get. And I'd just like to know that, A, it's working, or maybe we've gotta come up with a different system, or.
I think we could talk about that, definitely.
And we have been,
Yeah.
the three of us have been talking a lot about it,
Yeah.
to make sure that any kind of decision that, we give Rick the plans, any kind of decisions or conditions that need to be met are gonna be going to him, as of, there's already stuff that's gone by and whatever, but now when they get building permits, and I see all the building permits that go through, cause I have to update them in Avatar, so I can say, oh, wait, this one had this, and this one had that, and.
Good, as
So
long as
as
we have a
they're
way of
coming up, we're-
documenting it so that we can
Yeah,
follow
we're
it through,
kinda-
that would be.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it works, if you got a different way of doing it, that's great.
Right.
Where we get it coming to where the point where the fire department would know and we're okay, you want emergency water supply and things like that. So different ways of looking at all facets
Yeah.
of it.
Well, that's a perfect example, and again, I don't know whether, anybody told you, is that the Board of Selectmen with the Planning Board have agreed that it shouldn't be the individual 2 or 3 lot subdivision that has to go and put in a pond, or
Right.
fire suppression tanks or whatever, that should be the town's obligation. But now granted, if somebody came in and did a 50 lot subdivision, then that would be part of their requirement. But on these smaller ones, we're trying to look at it. with the fire chief to say, are there areas that aren't protected and we need to take measures to provide that, so.
We also thought it would be good to just meet with you guys like quarterly or
That would be good.
throughout the year,
Yeah.
just so we can communicate
Yeah.
how things are going in the offices and stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah, try to keep you updated as to what the activity is out there, because and one of the things I'd like to start with Laurie is doing a log on, because there is a lot of things that happen in town where I'll go look at it and, you know, you gotta get a permit on that, or just anything, and they take care of it. But it's really should be more than just logged. We should be having a log of that, we should be documented, put in the file. So, for instance, somebody has 3 unregistered cars and I have them remove 2 of them. Well, who's to say next year we're not gonna do the same thing again? But just trying to get better to have a historical.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is what I've noticed in the office, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but there is a drawer in there that has violations, but it's not done by property. So you get just a file.
Just
and
a
you
stack of
Yeah, you
violations.
just look through there and you'll find which
There's
ones are
so
there.
much that needs to be done.
So-
better.
Incorporate everything into map and lots, and that way, everything should go with that. Any permits, any decisions from your board, from the ZBA, from planning, it all should be in the same file, so we can, everybody has eyes on that.
Yes.
And then when we get.
You don't
one
file everything in the
Pulls the,
tax file?
Not everything.
Those
There's a
files
lot
are
of-
The property
like you said,
jam-packed.
and those drawers, yeah, they're jam-packed, like,
So we get more draws and
where you gonna put?
We've been talking a little about
Yeah,
maybe
Plenty of
we
room.
kinda-
some electronic storage,
Yeah.
maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, there's not everything I mean, we try to put everything in the file, but like he just said, the violations, they're not in there, they're in their own.
Yeah, and that's how I would have thought, was if you wanna know what happened on
Mm-hmm,
map 3, lot 42, you go to the drawer and,
ever and ever and ever,
and there's
right.
everything in
you
there.
should have it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I know in Ringe, we compiled a lot of things, it did expand our files, but
Yeah.
it's so much easier when somebody needs to look something up on a property. And then you can look and say, hey, you were told about this 10 years ago, and here we
Right.
are again today,
Yeah.
doing the same old thing again.
yeah.
And it's kind of like that contractor I've come across, and I go, you know, this is your verbal, don't let me catch you doing this again. And then you look back and you say, well, wait a minute, here's a letter that he's already been taught for that 5 years ago, so.
That doesn't
But
Not-
but there is a lot of activity, it's a very busy department, and a lot of it is a lot of violations. The zoning side has really picked up, and I do believe, I think Laurie's right on the money. It's a lot of real estate selling, and a lot of banks, a lot of.
But that's only
mortgage
for the building
companies.
department.
What about new construction? Is there a lot of new construction going on?
Yeah. We're at
11 new houses.
11 new houses as of today
For the year?
for the year.
And Nick, the assessor, told me, he was talking to me the other day about it, and he said the other towns that they do, I think, within the past 12 months they've done like 4 or 5 new houses, like actual new buildings, and we've done like 25. New-
But we've only done 11.
Yeah, but in the last year.
I'm saying in the last 12 months. So from a
Okay,
year ago,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
So last year, I think it was
Right,
25
5
new
to
houses
25.
were
For the year.
in New Ipswich.
Yeah.
For calendar year
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
And this year, we're at 11, and we're.
Which the
So
new
you'll be
houses,
less-
those are the easy ones, I say.
Yeah.
Are they?
Well, that's more or less
Because
the,
most people know when to call for their inspections
Yeah.
and like, we know a lot of the builders, so those are. the
So is it
easy
mainly the house sellers that is making it busy?
ones. For me,
For
in the
both.
office, I feel like it's nonstop. Like, there's either somebody at the window, I'm answering a phone call, I'm trying to do my minutes, this one's bringing in a permit, you know, trying to not get back up on your emails.
Website.
Just the website, there's just a lot going on. And I'm pretty much only there when the public is, there, like, I feel like if I could come in on Friday morning and
That's what I'm
start
thinking.
my
Would that
minutes,
help?
it would be great,
Hmm.
you know, but I'm already at the end of my,
20 hours.
And then
No.
if you have a ZBA
I'm already-
meeting that goes
yeah, that
for
could-
extra time, then
or,
you're already over your hours for the week.
and I mean, Debbie can vouch for, like, Tuesday mornings are, I don't know why they're busy, but they're busy. Like she said, that's all she does is get up and go to the window.
It's
You know.
like aerobics.
So I'm like, now you know how I feel.
No, and I know how she feels, and then if
Yeah.
she's helping one person, and then you know, on the days
Yeah.
she is here, I'm jumping out. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't have any continuous, I can get this project done, I can get my minutes done, because you're constantly being interrupted by the phone or by the, you know, people, which, I mean, that's what we're here for,
Mhm.
and I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't have any, you get into a groove, and then ding dong, and
Well, then the additional hours shouldn't be during the week. It should, during the hours that you're here, is to do it on a Friday.
or after hours or whatever, but.
I don't know, I mean, Joanne always just said, just however you get your 20 hours in, get it, you know, and it has worked, I think, for, you know, but I just feel like the past, even before town report, because that's kind of like when the building season slows down, the town report, you know, it's town report season,
Mhm.
and then it's voting season, and then it's, you know, it's like a circle of.
There's never a dead
There's not
season.
really, yeah, like, I can't wait to go and file what needs to be filed, or to fix the files that he needs fixed, so he can, you know, so we can keep him up to date, instead of them just sitting in a violation folder, or, you know, and I just think that we're missing a lot because we're rushing to get things done, and some things kind of fall through the cracks to, you know,
Do you-
just so we can stay afloat, to kind of keep,
Yeah, I know you say there's no slow season. I understand that. I mean,
but that's good,
do
I
you-
don't wanna be slow.
yeah, but do you think you could look at, you know, for the rest of this year, maybe restructuring whatever? If you have a week where you've got, I mean, obviously if you've got a week where you've got a little
Yeah, I
downtime, then
feel
you
like
can
if I
put
could
that,
get caught up,
come in on a
yeah.
Friday instead of
Yeah.
doing it on another day.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
restructure what you have, and then if you do have the ability to move hours,
Yeah, I think. we can
and
do
then
that.
stay within that total budget of 20 hours a week,
Yeah.
I think that's your number. That's the goal we can give you
Okay.
for now.
Okay,
And
Yeah, I
then
think
and
that's
then we
fair.
definitely look at this come budget season.
okay, I think that will work.
And as it is, a lot of these files that we're doing, where I pull up, I go through them, and I'll build her a stack. And then she'll put those in the property files like they should be, and as I see that go down, I'll see it go down, then I'll put her another stack.
Now it
So
doesn't go down.
She kind of feels
He
like,
comes in week after
it's a
week.
yo-yo. She's like, oh, I'm all caught up, and I kind of chuckle to myself and say, give me 5 minutes. And here comes another stack. So
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think,
there's stuff in that file cabinet from probably 2015, like, that never got followed up on, or, you know, like building permits that no one ever called for a final inspection, that we just need to probably close out, you know? But we have sent letters to
Yeah.
the more current ones, like it's
Right.
out of date,
so I'll go through it, and when I see something coming to the expiration, I'll send them a letter that you need, you've got the inspection process here, and some comply, some will call and say, well, we're moving.
We
At
already
least then,
did.
at least then we can put it in the property file,
Right.
like,
But we document it right on the permit, that, you know, when we call, left a message, or spoke with them, the project's moving slower than anticipated. I do believe that a lot of our activity also is people are complying now, you know, rather than seeing me coming around and giving them a hard time, or saying, oh boy, here he comes, he's gonna catch us again, they're complying. So
Mhm.
that's what we want
Yeah,
compliance. And I think we've come a long way in that aspect of things, and not keep listening to the complaint, well, we passed an ordinance that says you don't need building permits anymore. Yeah, that's, you know, that's
That's history.
not even close, so you still need to do it. What's the code book say? You got a license, so what's that code book say, what you need to do, so.
All right. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
for
We'll
your
look to
time.
see you in another 3 months.
Yes, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah, and I think if we keep you updated on what the activity is, I think you'll understand.
Yeah,
even
like we
more
get a
and see
report.
exactly what
Yeah.
we're talking
Yeah.
about.
We get a one-page report, like from the police department, telling us what the activities are. Maybe, you know, just shows, hey, electrical permits, building permits, whatever.
Yeah.
And that way there will be
Yeah.
kept abreast of what's going on.
Sounds
Rather
good.
than just at budget season, I need more money, you know, this way here, it's, you've got to
Well, yeah, because
document
you
it.
gotta do all the field work before you can do, and I like to, when we get a complaint, I like to go investigate it before I start, rifling from the hip, letters and stuff, make sure that, is there a violation here before that's the first thing. Is there, and what is it? And then move on from there.
Mhm.
And so that all takes time.
Yep.
Good,
All right.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
You had on the agenda.
It's in the second
the
folder.
request, didn't we,
It's in this
didn't we sign that already?
You had seen it. Is this about the lease renewal?
Yeah.
You'd seen it and you'd written a note asking, did we need a special form to do that? And so I just put a quick email into the attorney and he said, no, their letter would be fine. So if you wanted to just vote to renew, we'll put it in the minutes and I'll send them a letter back saying you're all set. We just need an updated certificate of insurance.
Okay. But we don't need any extension of the lease on the phone, we'll just keep doing it by document.
His email's attached.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he just said that would
The
be.
tenant's letter. Okay. I make a motion to allow the exercise the lease renewal at 55 Old Tenny Road.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Update on the transportation.
Okay, so that was somewhere in here as well. So you had said that the town had applied for the last 2 rounds of the transportation alternative grant and that you were considering perhaps submitting a letter of intent again this year, but you wanted to know what you could have done better, what
Yes.
would improve
Yeah.
your odds
Yeah.
going forward. So I made 2 calls. One I called JB Mack at Southwest Region Planning Commission, and he explained that he would be glad to help us in whatever way he could. I guess he had come out here last year and walked the area with someone, and
Maybe Peter?
maybe.
Yeah, okay.
And he didn't really have any insights into why we didn't do so well, other than he said that oftentimes if you have your match money already set aside, that's gonna improve your chances.
Mhm.
You know, the more developed your proposal is, and, you know, the more commitment that the town shows, the more likely they are to get funding. But he referred me to a gentleman at DOT, and I called him up. And he said that right now, it's kind of early to get into that discussion, because they're still formulating the criteria for this year. And he said every year they have a different scoring panel and different criteria. And so at some point, he could look back and see, you know, how we scored last year. But he's really busy right now. And besides, those criteria are gonna change. And he encouraged us to go ahead and get a letter of interest in. And then, you know, that was the foot in the door that would allow us to move forward,
Okay.
so.
Think we should pursue it?
I think we should.
Yeah.
At least give it a, yeah.
Because I thought the last time we had it, that we had submitted it, and I think they had told us, like maybe in December, we hadn't got it. And so we never put it out on the ballot to get the 10 or 20% matching fund on it.
I see.
So that's why I'm curious how they,
Well, and the 20%, from what I'm reading, doesn't all have to be cash. You know, if the highway crew was willing to do part of the work,
Mhm.
that could go toward it. Or if a local business was willing to donate, you know, labor or materials
Yeah.
toward it, that could go toward it as well.
well, I'd make a motion then to submit a letter of interest to the DOT for the Transportation Alternative Program funding.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so they've got a template in there, and I'll just
Sounds
use that
Yeah.
and get something out there. Okay.
Can I ask, if you have like a specific project that you're looking to fund?
Yeah, well, what we're talking about was, if you remember a few years ago, they did the walk from Boynton down to the center of town, but then now the kids go from there and they walk down Temple Road. There's no walk to get to the park. So that was what we had submitted on last time, was to get a walk going to the park.
Just
From
like
the center of town,
from the center
where
of
the
town?
sidewalk is now, get it to come over. And Selectman Hopkins at our last meeting had made the suggestion, if we did, to try and get a bridge over the brook to the park, because that roadway there now is very narrow, to try and get another sidewalk in there.
Yeah, where you already go over the little river.
Yep.
If you tried to put a walkway there, you'd narrow it even more, but if we stopped there and kind of cut across, we'd be able to put a footbridge over. So hopefully to give the kids someplace safer to walk.
But on that program that they have, your project has to be more than $400,000. So that becomes the challenge.
So that's not a big stretch of road that you'd be looking to.
Right.
Yeah.
So we thought, one, with the footbridge, and two, maybe even continuing around down Playground Road, even to make it, some sort of pavement down that side too, so people would, just even with parking, that they would not park in a walkway. So.
I didn't see, but I see it on the agenda. Was that it? That's what I missed.
That just came in today.
Okay. I'd like to read this. This is a donation of $100, and I'm trying to see. I guess an anonymous donor. But it says, Dear New Ipswich Rec, I grew up in New Ipswich and moved away years ago. As a child in the 1970s, I took swimming lessons at the town pool for several summers. I became a good swimmer and owe most of that to those lessons. I also went to free swim daily and played softball, volleyball, tennis, and other field events. My memory is that there was little or no cost for the swim lessons and the other activities. I now have grown kids of my own, and it seems that for every activity they participate in, there were fees, some relatively reasonable and some absurdly high. In any event, never did we get the value that my parents got for whatever fees and taxes they paid for my summers at the New Ipswich town pool. Please accept this donation and apply it wherever it may be needed. I see from the town website that there are modest fees for swimming lessons. If it can be used for scholarships for someone in need, please do so. But if it goes towards chlorine or Band-Aids or something else, that's great too. And if this small sum causes you more administrative burden than benefit, please put a note on your Facebook page and I'll be sure never to do it again. Thank you and have a great summer.
I make a motion to accept the $100 donation from our generous anonymous friend.
I would second that, and I would thank them for doing that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town office sign?
Just an update, since you last met, we went back to the sign company with the ideas about adding the logo, and they weren't able to accommodate the round concept on the top because of the dimensions and whatnot of the sign. But they did propose an alternative that incorporated the logo, and so we went ahead and got that order in process. And from what I understand, Debbie's been in touch with Peter to let him know about the site work that needs to be done out there, and hopefully within a matter of weeks or maybe months, that'll be replaced.
Did they give, I thought in their proposal they said they were gonna give you a proof of what the graphics of the sign was gonna look like. Did that ever?
Is that what he's showing you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great.
I like that, just putting it off to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think it would be nice, yeah.
The other announcement that I should have made earlier was because the town does have a permit for hawkers, peddlers, and internet vendors, there is a company that will be around town with their services, educational books. They will be driving a Ford Taurus that's black with a registration number 4404235. And they will be going door to door between July 3rd and July 30th. So if you see them, at least know that they did file for the requisite permit with the town. Hazardous Mitigation Grant Program.
I took a moment when I saw that and looked through the hazard mitigation plan that has been submitted to the state and FEMA for approval. And from what I could glean, there were 2 areas where recommendations had been made for specific items that could be grant eligible. One was culverts, and the other was generators. And so I thought perhaps I'd reach out to Peter and or maybe George, or I'm not sure who I would talk to about the generators, but see if there were, specific projects or generators that we could seek grant money for. Basically, whenever there's a disaster in the state, even if it doesn't hit your town, it triggers the release of these funds.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the money's available.
And I'm trying to think, like, yes, the police department would be a great place to have that on an emergency power, but it's not our building and it's, but there may be something we could do with that to make it
Yeah,
work.
could even be a mobile generator.
So those were the two items in
Those
it?
were the two concrete things that
Yeah.
stuck out to me, out of the recommendations in the plan. I mean, there may be others, but the date was coming up soon, and I thought, geez, if we could shoot for something.
Reduce or eliminate damage and risk from the effects of natural disasters. Eligible projects include but are not limited to property acquisition, property elevations, localized flood risk reduction, and soil stabilization.
Good night, Ashley.
Gonna
Oh, sure.
Good night.
These are the three culverts that,
Yeah, this is the one for the bridge aid though, right? Taylor Road.
okay.
That's the one on there. Binney Hill Road. Culvert on Binney Hill Road.
I'm not sure. Jay says there's one up there that never seemed that hasn't worked.
And Poor Farm Road. He's talking at the bottom. Past Lower Pratt.
I'm thinking so. That's the one I can think of.
Now the emergency generator we have here does the town office,
Yeah,
correct? Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah, it does
Yeah.
the town office.
Okay.
I don't think it does the highway. Trying to think, do we have any town buildings in the flood?
I think the plan said that there were only like 10 parcels in this town that were in the flood zone.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
And there were none that were in that super high risk category, like we wanna buy them and tear them down.
Okay,
Yeah.
flooding risk areas, town center? I hope not.
Well, if they consider this a town center, I don't think so. You would have to think maybe at the bottom of the hill with all the water coming down. Maybe they're thinking that, like.
That's what I'm saying. I hope.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd make your life a little difficult.
I hope it goes down that little drain and continues on. I think your suggestion's a good one, is if you can check with the department heads and
Okay.
that's gonna go here. I've read the memorandum of understanding that, Jim and Meredith dropped off for the Souhegan Valley ambulance and the town. the items on here that had a question mark. It says allow SVAS to purchase items utilizing the town's municipal rate. I don't know that we're able to do that. And there were items in here that I'm not quite comfortable with. I think that this might be something we should send to town council to review and comment on.
And that was our recommendation that night as well, is
okay.
that we would send this to town council. But we wanted to discuss it as a board first.
Okay.
But, that was, I think they were under the understanding that evening that this would have to be reviewed by town council before we could sign it.
I actually reached out to Meredith because I didn't have a copy of that, and so she sent it to me electronically.
And I got it.
So I can just forward it on to town council.
That would be
Right.
good.
So, yeah.
I like your highlighting.
So do I.
It made it easy to read.
I actually made the comment to my wife. I said, yeah, it was, because I stopped by that the afternoon of the 3rd or the 4th or whatever and signed everything. And then actually, I said, awesome. I said, I don't have to scan it myself to hit the high points. I could look and go, all right, then if I have a question, I'll read the rest of the paragraph. But yeah, it's kind of like, I said, yeah, I kind of get the gist of it quickly.
So that's why I brought it back. That was yours.
Okay,
You
for
gave
the
it to me to
deeding.
read. Yeah, for
okay.
the deeding.
All right.
Let's see. Let's check. Sign those.
Have you seen that before?
In prior years.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
But unfortunately, we never have anyone attend. So, if you'd
What-
like to attend.
If there are any particular issues
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you want to move forward, I'd be glad to attend.
When we do this when Jay's here. These are positions that support or not support. Busy month of June.
Yeah, I was actually reading the police logs the other day, and June was very busy for them. July's looking quite busy as well.
By the way, I printed that ad before we walked in here. Just
One
so
that's
you could see
currently
this,
on.
this is what we're putting out there.
Probably just
This is
expand
what
on it.
needs to be expanded, performing duties pertinent to a highway department.
Yeah.
have a job description type.
You guys have a folder called job descriptions on the computer.
Let's see if there's one in there.
I would think that there
That would have something that would expound it
Yeah.
to more than a truck driver.
Yeah.
That we could have had in there.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's the one piece we keep getting stuck on, is they've never operated a wing plow. You know, they've never operated anything besides, you know, a little Bobcat or something like that, and, which, you know, doesn't help much. There were two of these, there was this one and there was another one somewhere I saw you put off to the side.
Two of,
These permits
yeah, I think the other one I left on
on the
the
desk.
table, yeah. That was something, Meredith had called me last week about the one that we did not sign.
Yeah.
She talked to you about that?
I actually happened to be in and I signed it.
Okay.
Yeah. My only concern with this that I was looking is I
Yeah.
was wondering whether the planters that were suggested will fit over that. They look like they're deck railing size, not concrete railing size.
Have you seen what's there?
They're there now.
Oh, they are there now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know because I didn't realize this had been done. Because this is the first I'd seen
I
this.
think what they have there now is, it's a steel railing that's there.
Oh.
Yeah. But they've got them on there,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm-
And I asked,
I'm working in the opposite direction during the summer.
Okay.
I'd asked Peter, because we don't have a garden club, so if we can get any volunteers that would like to start a garden club, we're looking for people to take on planting of areas that the board has discussed, just to make New Ipswich even more inviting. And what we're discussing here are the new flowers that have been set at the bridge railing as you come into town, down near the mill. So that's been installed, and in the meantime, to handle the watering, I had asked Peter if he could get a tank for the truck and have them
I don't know
water
if you
those.
happen to see the pictures of Woody doing gardening out by the town sign and such.
My wife had told me about
Yeah,
it.
he did some
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
nice stuff. Yeah.
I think we have some, any other new items for public? Otherwise, I think we had
No.
a couple items to discuss in non-public.
All right. Motion for a non-public session per RSA 91A3,